Hello, students and viewers. This is once again Professor Dr. Ahmed for another online lecture today on the short story A Pair of Jeans by Qaisra Shahraz. Hopefully, all of you are maintaining very good health during this crisis time of COVID 19. I have very big prayers for all of you that God may be keeping safe all of you people from any of the troubles that may somehow arise. Uh, well, before we start with our lecture today, I need to make certain things clear to my students, especially not to the viewers, that the lectures which are being given to you, these are the part of the policy of the government as well as that of the universities and almost all of the world. It is the policy that one should pay attention to these lectures, because unless we are attentive to it, we cannot reap the real benefits from that. Some of the students feel very uneasy on these lectures. I don't think that this uneasiness should be there, because this is for your benefit. This is not for the benefit of the professor. It is the benefit of the student, that he may have some idea of the articles of the syllabi that the person is still required to do, and all of a sudden, if the university is open, you may be having a good choice. But I think this online lecturing is going to be the norm. Right now, HED, which is Higher Education Department, has also instructed the people, colleges and the universities, that they should prepare online lectures and they should prepare for the students. And for this purpose, Google Google Zoom and Google Classroom, these two softwares are recommended. And there the students will be required to send their assignments as well, and that can be checked anytime. So this is the new norm. This is the new normal that we people need to follow. So if you feel distracted, that's not that bad, because it's a new mode of teaching. It is up to the student how they can benefit from that. They can, by sending the feedback, or they can do anything with which it may be good for them. So whatever the case may be, lectures are in place. They are the part of our academic life now. They will be happening. We cannot deny them. These days, students are very free at home. And I don't know why they hesitate in attending these lectures, and why they hesitate in making the assignments. As soon as the word assignment is listened by the students, they die actually, not physically, but they die metaphorically, one can say. I don't know what you do all the day, but whatever the case may be, my purpose is not to hurt you. My purpose is to inspire you. That very little assignments you can do to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself mentally positive as well. Because doing nothing, an empty mind is devil's workshop. So do something always. Very little assignments are given to you. Do not hesitate in doing, and try to understand the things, whatever these are. So let's now move on to our lecture of the day. It's going to be on pair of genes, textual analysis. I hope my students have already attended my lecture on a pair of genes, and a lecture that I gave on general terms, what this short story means, and who was Qaisra Shahraz, all these things we have been talking about. Now, before beginning the lecture, I must once again revise the theme, which is quite dominant here, that this short story is the short story written by a diaspora writer. I mean the writers who are not living in Pakistan. They have migrated to some Western country, not necessarily Western, but now as the case is, so that is why some Western country. And there they are living, and there they are writing about the people who live with them in those foreign countries, and they have migrated from local indigenous countries, say from Pakistan to America or to Britain. They have migrated there, and because of this migration, what are their issues? What are their problems? Intra-community and inter-community problems. I mean the problems which they have with respect to their own community. I mean the Muslims, the Pakistanis which are living in UK, what problems they have, and what are the problems which they face when they interact with the other communities, like the Christian community or the Londoners community or the New Yorkers community. I mean, in that way, they have to face a number of issues, and that's what the story goes to highlight. This short story is not only taken in this sense, but also in the sense of a woman's identity, how a woman how a woman has to behave at home and in the foreign country with the community she walks with, talks with. For example, she studies in university, how she has to behave there and how she has to behave inside her home and within her community. These are the things which are definitely talked about in this short story. So that diasporic story is going to play a very role in teaching us what are the problems and difficulties of women when they are living there, and how these problems are becoming huge issues for the old generation, and they are not the problem for the new generation, and how the new generation would like to solve its own problems. So these are all the things which are there in the story, 3 4 things. Let us enter into the story and see by reading different paragraphs how much these kind of issues or themes have been debated by the writer. Students, I can see only 7 students who are watching this lecture. All remaining ones have not taken care of. All remaining ones have not given any importance to these things. And this is the tragic state of affairs, that how our Pakistani nation or is always thinking that these things are quite useless. They don't need them. They are so much expert and big kind of people that they can do everything without attending any lecture. Be careful of the time when you won't be able to find these lectures. And now the number has decreased to 3 at this moment. So let us see how many people read it and attend it. Anyways, I'm taking you to the text. The whole text is visible to you on your screen, a pair of jeans, and the first page. I said that the short story is of 7 pages today. It's total 14 pages, 7 pages we shall be discussing today. Let's talk about the very first line in green. It says, Miriam slid off the bus seat and glanced quickly at her watch. They were coming and she was very late. So 3 4 significant words are here. Miriam is the name of the protagonist of the story. It's not written as Mariam. It is the way how the name Mariam will be pronounced by the people in London, and that's why she's got a different name. So therefore, it goes to give a touch of diaspora, that it's not the local name, it's the name which is taken by the people, spoken by the people in London. And then it is the bus seat, and then the watch. It means that the person is looking at the watch while coming out of the bus. It means that the protagonist is coming from outside to her home, and she's in hurry, and she's late as well. It means that the time is not normal when she's coming home. And the sentence, they were coming, this is the sentence which goes to indicate that some type of people are coming, and the plural has been used. They has been used. He was coming, she was coming, not like that. It is they were coming. It means that some group of people is expected to come, and who they can be, that's not clear in the sentence. But the worry and hurry of Miriam goes to show that somebody important is coming. And so this is the story with this is the sentence, this situation with the story begins. Let's have another green area. Once there, she got off the bus and hurriedly waved goodbye to her friends again. She pulled the jacket close to her body, becoming suddenly very self-conscious about her jean-clad legs and the short vest she wore beneath. It had unfortunately shrunk in the wash. So that's the problem right now. The situation also. What is the situation in which Miriam is? One, that she's late, and second, that she was with her friends of the university, and she had been outside, and she was wearing the dress which was quite suitable to the Western community, but it was not that suitable to the people of Pakistan who migrated there. And so in that way, she was in difficulty at this moment. So she wanted to be very quick to go back to her home and change the clothes which she was wearing. Now, what she was wearing? She was wearing jeans, and that was the tight jeans she was wearing, and a very small shirt she was wearing. So this shirt has become even smaller with the wash. We are given the information. So in that way, she's wearing the skimpy clothes, or the clothes which were not covering her body in 100% way. But this covering is okay with the Western people. And as far as her own people are concerned, the Pakistani people are concerned, this covering may not be okay with them, and they may be taking it as a kind of shame. And this thing is present in her mind. That's why she's feeling worried. So her mind, Miriam's mind, is divided between her life in the West and between her life she is to live in her home or in her community. And in that way, she has to take care of both the things. In this way, she is a divided personality, which she tries to collect and gather in the end of the story. But in the beginning of the story, she's 100% divided. And that is what the heroine is going to be, the protagonist is going to be. And this is Mariam, with whom we are going to meet in this story. And from these 2 passages, you might have understood that dress is very important. That if you are a Pakistani, you need to cover your body as a woman. As a woman, you need to cover your body to suit to your community. But if you are a Westerner or living in a Western country at that time, the Western people are not very much careful about women's dresses as far as we think. Though they wear the dresses as they look nice, that's not an issue. The issue is that how we define this niceness of dress and what is the problem, a reason for the diasporic people when they're living outside. So that is the issue the story is going to deal with. Let's go to the next small passage that we should talk about. It says in green, she remembered the phone call of yesterday evening. They said they were coming today. What if they had already arrived? She glanced down at her tightly jean-clad legs. As soon as she got home, she must discreetly make her way to her room and quickly get changed. So that's again the same issue in her mind, that she's concerned about her skimpy dress and she wants to, change her dress as much as possible. This change is not possible until and unless she goes her home and wears a different type of dress. And she thinks that perhaps her in-laws may be coming and they may be coming earlier instead of getting late. It was she who's late. The in-laws may not be late, and because of this, the situation possibly can be bad as well. So she wants to reach her room as early as possible in order to change her clothes. Let's go next and see what further the writer is trying to bring before us. Let me a little bit. The story is skimpy. It has got the problem with the things also. We know very well that the short story writers try to point out something always which is very important for the people who read these stories. And here the person who can read the story, I mean the audience, is not simply the people who are from Pakistan. These audience can be from England as well. So the writer has to take care of the audience in England as well as the audience in Pakistan also. When a Pakistani will read such a short story, that person can be feeling embarrassed at this moment. And when a non-Pakistani reads this type of story, the embarrassment may not be clear, but still the confusions may arrive, and these confusions become the part and parcel and the gist of the story that we are reading today. So we have to keep in mind the difficulties of the writer, difficulties of that writer who is living in England. Keeping these difficulties in mind, let us read the next passages, and I'm going to show these passages to you people. For example, look at this passage, which is visible before you, so green in color. She braced her shoulders. She could not scurry inside. That was not the way things were done, no matter what the circumstances. Calmly let go of the gate and turned round to greet the two people who had by now stepped out of the car and were surveying her. Now, this is the situation, that before she could reach her room and make a change of her dress, the people had arrived. The two people had arrived. One was man, other was a woman, and both of them are looking at the girl. The girl couldn't avoid because she was right at that time on the gate, and the people have come in their car, and they are looking at the girl, how she is appearing. She is not able to go to her room in order to change. And at this moment, these people, two people, man and woman, are able to look at her when she's wearing jeans, tight jeans, and she's also having short shirt on her body. And because of that, her waist, the flesh of her waist and the belly is quite visible. This is the thing which these people have seen, and that is what that gives a type of impression to the people that Miriam is not a good kind of girl, that she can come late also, and she can wear such dress also where her belly is quite visible. This is the matter of bearing the skin. Bearing of the skin is not a problem with the European people, but it is really a big problem with the Pakistani people, and that's why it's creating a big fuss in the mind of Miriam at this moment. Let's read this passage, which is upper passage on the screen. It says, in fact, not at her as Miriam, but at the figure, the appearance she presented clad in a pair of Levi's and skimpy leather jacket to top it off. This was not the Miriam they knew, but a stranger, a Western version of Miriam. She immediately sensed their awkwardness. They too were caught off guard and did not know what to do with themselves, in particular with their eyes. The father-in-law was bent on avoiding eye contact with her by studiously looking above her head. So this is the situation. This two Miriams are visible here in this passage. One is the Miriam who would wear saris, shalwar kameez, and would look like the Pakistani people. Another Miriam is the Miriam who would wear jeans, and then she would wear the short shirts as well. These two lives Miriam is living. One life inside her house, inside her community. Other is the life which she is living in England with the people of her university. So in that way, two lives are there. When one is required to live these two lives, frequently changing from one to the other life, it's a big problem. So from here we can realize how much is the issue with the, especially the second generation of the people, as Miriam is there inside those diasporic countries, that how they have to be divide themselves into two types of lives. And one is the life which is normally the routine life there in those countries. Another is the life with which the preservation of the culture, the concept of shame, and the concept of honor, all these things combined together. And constantly these characters have to shift from one set of values to the other set of values. So that is one of the difficulties the writer has tried to point out, and this is the major characteristic of the character of Miriam. This difficulty is more poignantly and sharply available among the people who are older in generation, as compared to the people who are younger in generation. Miriam is one of the younger, but still she has to face these situations. Okay, so that is the problem. The short story is trying to highlight the difference between the two cultures and the problems and the young generation's issues which they are facing in diasporic countries. So further, Miriam's mother is Fatma. So Fatma's name must be in your mind. And read this short paragraph. It says, today, however, she was viewing her daughter's arrival and appearance through different set of lenses. In fact, through the lenses of Miriam's future in-laws. The view just didn't look very good. Now, this was not simply the problem of the in-laws of Miriam, who had come at that time when Miriam is wearing jeans and late at night she's coming. It's not simply the problem of these in-laws, but also it is the problem of her own father, her own mother. Her own father and mother never objected to her wearing jeans and never objected to her baring of the skin. But now they were looking at her with the eyes of the in-laws, because the in-laws have to make a selection for their son, what type of girl it should be. Should it be a Sharif girl, gentle girl, or it should be a very modern girl? So definitely, in order to claim a good and respectable place in the Pakistani community, as they call it, they need a girl who is Sharif, gentle, as compared to the girl who is modern. So baring of the skin becomes the symbol of modernity according to the people, and keeping this skin under cover becomes the symbol of goodness and gentleness in Pakistani people. And so that's once again the division of the Pakistani people into the modernness. This modernness we would like to see in the girls and women of other people, but we won't like to see this modernness into the women of our own house. And that's the kind of division, that's the kind of doubleness present in the characters which are Pakistani and living in abroad countries like UK and other European and American countries. So this is the whole gist of the story with which the writer is proceeding further and building the ground to let us know about the difficulties of the diasporic people. So let us go with the same link and trying to understand the other parts of the story as well by shifting to the other pages. Now, this is the passage that should be read out by us. Well, this passage may not be read out by us in word by word, but we can take some of the important things from here. Like it is when they saw her in the third line, for example, when they first saw her at a party, she was dressed in a maroon chiffon sari. Now, in a sari, if a Pakistani woman is present, shalwar kameez, a Pakistani woman is present, she is the symbol of respect and she is the symbol of honor. Everybody would like her. And actually, when the in-laws saw her in a party wearing this dress, they said that she's a Sharif girl, she's a good girl, she's not a modern girl. But now when they're looking at her in jeans at that time, their opinion is changing. So how one can say how dress changes the personality of a person, how dress can become responsible for making a person a good person or a bad person, especially in case of a woman. If a woman is wearing the dress which is covering her, in that way she becomes good in the eye of Pakistani people. And if it's not covering her, she becomes bad. So for a woman, this is the biggest issue, this biggest problem, because she is thought to be the preserver and harbinger and upbringer of the values of a culture. So if she is culturally keeping the things under control, I mean, she's covering herself properly, according to the Pakistani people, she's thought to be good. So label of goodness is associated with the covering of the body, not with any other morals, not with any other characteristics of the mind, not with any other performances in the society, not with any other usefulness in the society. It's only simply the covering. So Miriam, who was seen in a sari, she was liked at that time to be a good girl, but now she has been seen in jeans by these very people, and they think it's not proper, they think it's not good one, and they would not like to have the daughter-in-law a such girl who can bear her skin. So that's the biggest possible issue. Let's go further and see how this issue is coming to the resolution or is creating more problem in the life of Miriam and the people. Now, see, this is the passage here. Her head held high, Miriam entered the living room. One inside she felt 4 pairs of eyes turned in her direction. She stared ahead, knowing instinctively that apart from her father's, those eyes were busy comparing her present demure appearance with her earlier one. It was amazing how she was able to move around the room at ease in her shalwar kameez suit in a manner that she could never have done in her earlier clothes amongst these people. She sat down beside her mother, acutely aware of her mother-in-law's eyes, discreetly appraising both her appearance and her movement. This paragraph shows that after the guests have been placed in the drawing room or the sitting room, Miriam had gone upward in her room. There she changed the clothes. She wore a shalwar kameez and removed those jeans, and that's why now she is quite comfortable. Although all these people are having a look at her, they are trying to weigh and compare that girl in the jeans and this girl in shalwar kameez. But the real issue, the real thing is that we should see that Miriam herself is divided. Now she is feeling quite comfortable, while she was feeling totally discomfortable at that time when she was in the, present at the gate wearing the jeans, and now she is totally confident with that. So it means that we dress sometime for the sake of the other people, to look more suitable according to the desire and demand of other people. Now she's wearing the dress which is more suitable in the eye of the in-laws, and that's why she's feeling quite comfortable in that dress as well. So dress changes the personality, dress changes the image, especially that of women, and this is the theme of the story going to be, especially in the countries which are not Pakistan, which are other than Pakistani people. So after some time, the parents walk out, as the green area suggests, but really this is the passage that we need to have an understanding of. Very small passages here. Students, don't be so restless because the lecture is about to end. For a few moments, she stood lost in her thoughts, looking out of the bedroom window. Mrs. Williams had in the car. This was the third in 6 months. What did she do with them? Then she heard her husband call her name, his voice supremely autocratic. This passage is quite useless, but still I needed to have a view of this because the writer wanted us to show that the houses of Pakistani people are surrounded by the houses of Western people. And as a result, they are able to have a peep at their houses, their culture also. For example, here we can see that the mother-in-law of Miriam is able to look at the neighboring house and find out the cars there. So in that way, they are able to observe the living style of the people. When they observe their living style, they want also to become like that, but they cannot because of the problems which Miriam is facing, because of the problem which most of the men and women in diaspora would face. In that way, they are always torn in two personalities, and that two personalities are always with every person who's living abroad. So in this way, the writer is trying to remind us once again that this is going to be the problem, or this is going to be the issue with the people. At home, when these in-laws go back to their home, they are discussing this girl. They are discussing in the sense that the girl is Sharif, but the Sharifness of the girl is again referred to the naked waist of the girl, and that way it's being said that she's quite modern. And the lower paragraph says that she wanted to excuse Mariam's mode of dress to herself and to him. She knew she was not going to make a success. Now, once again, another story begins there, the story of the in-laws, that how the mother-in-law will be convincing the father-in-law that it's okay that if the girl is wearing this type of dress, but she's got no dare in her, she's got no courage in her, that she can go forward. And here, at this moment, we will be closing our lesson of the day. And I think it has been a very short lesson, and everybody should remember that from here, we may be beginning our lecture once again in order to complete the whole short story. The 5 to 6 pages have been done. So the students may be keeping in mind the problem of a woman who is outside from Pakistan, living in a diaspora country, how she has to face the people around her, in her community and out of her community. So that is the theme of the short story which the writer Qaisra Shahraz has tried to develop. Let's keep all these things in mind in order to start afresh. So right now, no assignment is being given. The previous assignment for home, last date is tomorrow. That may be submitted by all of you, and after that we shall be proceeding further for the new assignment. Until that time, the short story will also be complete. So students, I hope that some of the things have become clear to you, and I can see that only 6 people have watched this lecture out of the class of 30 and 40 people. So everyone is thinking him or herself as Turam Khan or Satmar Khan, and as a result, they think they can do everything alone themselves. Possibly, it may not be the problem in the next coming days. So, with this bad words, I should say, and the bad words come only at that time when the teacher is doing efforts for the class and the class is running away. So the teacher should run behind the class and capture them. This thing an old teacher cannot do. So the students need to come back to their class and have a good understanding of these lessons. Okay, then thank you all for watching this, and hopefully we shall be meeting very soon in order to complete this short story. I have tried to keep this lecture as short as possible so that my Nazik student may be able to go through just a few of the pages, not all, because I know that many of you are very much upset with these lectures. Perhaps you had a habit of living free and now these lectures are there. And believe me, this is going to be the future. This thing is going to happen. So you must adapt to it as soon as possible. So thank you very much for watching. And if you understand anything, if you have got anything which is good, do not fail to hit the subscribe button, because I still need lots of numbers of subscription in order to complete the 1,000. So that's it from me for this day. Hopefully seeing you. Stay safe at home and keep safe yourself and the people around you. May Allah keep all of you safe. Thank you very much. And that's it from me.